JBN, we keep you informed. Father and son injured in home invasion. A cane vendor remains in hospital after he and his son were attacked in their St. Thomas home over the weekend. The police report that about 10 o'clock Saturday night, the man and his son were at home in the community of Cottage Pen in Morant Bay when three armed men wearing masks entered the premises and demanded money. A struggle reportedly ensued between the intruders and the cane vendor when his son intervened. The gunmen then reportedly opened fire, hitting the vendor before fleeing the scene with approximately $14,000 in cash. The man's son was grazed by a bullet. They were later rushed to hospital where the vendor was admitted in serious but stable condition and his son treated and released. 4 arrested in connection with St. Catherine gun seizure. 4 men were arrested on reasonable suspicion of illegal possession of firearm and ammunition during an operation on Nugent Street, St. Catherine on Monday. Reports from the Spanish Town Police are that about 6 p.m., a joint police-military team conducted an operation in the area where a premises was searched. According to the police, a SR-40 Ruger pistol with a magazine containing 7.40 rounds was found in a drawer inside the house. The identities of the men taken into custody are being withheld pending further investigations. Security beefed up after robbery of care packages in St. Mary. Security has been beefed up for social workers attached to the Ministry of Labour and Social Security after personnel came under attack and were robbed of care packages on Saturday in Enfield, St. Mary. Sections of the parish have been placed under a 14-day quarantine since last week, Thursday. The ministry's permanent secretary, Colette Roberts-Risden, says she was surprised by the brazen attack, noting that residents have always been receptive to government workers in their communities. She indicated that the incident happened as the ministry vehicle transporting care packages for distribution came under attack, resulting in 4 parcels being stolen. There was an altercation with the driver and one of the, should I say, robbers, but the driver was not injured since the incident. And just to ensure the welfare of the staff, we have been working a lot closer with the JDF, Jamaica Defence Force, and the police to accompany us during the distribution exercises. I am told when you look at the stats, there has been an increase in crime in St. Mary. The history normally shows us that whenever the ministry goes into an area, the residents, crime or no crime, are usually quite respectful and to look out for our officers. So you have communities that the ordinary man wouldn't necessarily go, but our officers feel quite safe going there, said Roberts-Risden, who noted that the workers were left shaken up by the incident. The incident has been condemned by Member of Parliament for South East St. Mary, Dr. Norman Dunn, and the Mayor of Port Maria, Richard Creary. They are there with one single purpose in mind, to ensure that all the persons in the quarantine zone are in fact served and given some benefit as indicated by the state. This is not something to be tolerated, and I would like the entire community to speak in one voice that this type of behavior is not typical of the good people of the community, said Dunn. They have always been gracious in accepting visitors and have always treated visitors with a sense of pride, respect, and decency. I would like to say that this is not typical of the people of this community and by extension anywhere else in Southeast St. Mary. We are a proud people, we are decent people, and we are a law-abiding people, he continued. Meanwhile, the mayor said the behavior was unacceptable and served to disenfranchise those who are in need. It's really an act of selfishness on the part of those residents, he said. Everybody will get, and they only have to wait their turn. We have taken the necessary steps to prevent that from happening again. I am almost sure that those who did it are not the ones who are in greater need. It is just an act of indiscipline, he added. 6 ship workers isolated after positive COVID-19 test. 6 crew members of the Marina Discovery 2 have tested positive for the novel coronavirus following their arrival in the island last week. All 6 crew members who tested positive were reportedly whisked away to a separate facility Monday morning, sequestering them from the other Jamaicans presently in quarantine at a hotel in St. Ann. When I was in the UK, I tested negative the day before we all got on the plane to Jamaica, and I was given a document to say that I was negative. When we got to Jamaica, we were tested on Thursday, and then today we got the phone calls that we are positive. Almost 4 days after the first set of testing, the crew member who spoke on condition of anonymity said. The crew member was one of 115 Jamaicans who had been stranded in the United Kingdom since a ban was placed on incoming passengers to the island in the middle of March. They arrived in the island last Wednesday. The funny thing is that all of the 6 who tested positive are from the Marilla Discovery 2. So this seems like an extra punishment for us. First, we were denied by the authorities. Know this. I was tested on Thursday, but then they told me that my test was not conclusive. To me, the authorities seem a bit disorganized and unprofessional because some of us were told that our samples were destroyed, so they had to be retested as well. I was tested again on Saturday, and it's just this morning 6 of us got a phone call that we were positive and being moved to a different facility, he said. The Jamaican crew members aboard the Marilla Discovery 2 had been denied a request to disembark the vessel in early April while in Jamaican waters. The crew member, one of the 43 Jamaicans who were on the cruise ship, reportedly became largely asymptomatic. I have no coughing, no sneezing. The only thing is that my sinus has been acting up since I got to Jamaica, the crew member said. The crew members are not too pleased with how they have been treated so far. The problem is that we got breakfast after 9 this morning at the first facility. We moved at 11 to a new facility and we got no lunch today. And now it is almost 4 and still no lunch. My main concern right now is that they have not given us a kettle in our rooms. I am a tea person. I need warm fluids, the crew member said. 58 private doctors respond to government's call for outsourcing of controlled patients. The Ministry of Health says 58 private practitioners have responded to its call for outsourcing of controlled patients with chronic illnesses such as hypertension, who would usually attend public health facilities for routine care. The public-private partnership initiative is aimed at alleviating the burden on clinics and hospitals as the public health sector focuses on the COVID-19 crisis. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dunstan Bryan, explained that one of the major challenges causing the low take-up of the offer is the requirement for a Tax Compliance Certificate, TCC. He was speaking today, May 12, at a meeting of the Special Select Committee of Parliament, which is reviewing activities in the health sector around COVID-19. The GPs are saying that in order to get the TCC, they would have to engage with the National Housing Trust, NHT, and the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, and so on. And the time that is required to get that done was not sufficient for them to get the TCC in order to make the application timeline, he said. Bryan said on this basis, the ministry will be tweaking the requirements in order to generate more responses. However, he said the ministry will be engaging the 58 who have responded in a framework agreement over the next 2 weeks. Resort town of Ocho-Rios down, but not out. This could never be Ocho-Rios, the Caribbean's top cruise ship destination, said one responder, in light of the virtual lockdown of the resort town caused by the coronavirus pandemic. All around, shopping centers that house dozens of inbound shops, gift shops, and other businesses that cater solely to tourists are closed and workers sent home. Some local businesses in some of these plazas remain open. The town's largest hotel, Moon Palace Jamaica, remains closed, while just across the street, the #1 spot for live entertainment, Mongoose Restaurant and Lounge, is also closed. Elsewhere, several businesses that cater to locals are also closed, but others have remained opened. And in fact, some that were closed for a while have since reopened. But the situation is a far cry from the bustling resort town that locals and visitors alike have come to know. Devastating is the word. What else would I say? Vanna Taylor, St. Ann Chamber of Commerce president, responded when questioned. I think the only people that are really benefiting in Ocho-Rios right now or to some extent the supermarkets and the shops and the banks and so on. I can't think of anybody else. It's devastating. Everything is slowed down because Ocho Rice, as you know, is solely dependent on tourism, she added. Taylor said chamber members are all feeling the effects of the downturn. Every single member is suffering at this time. There's not one member who is not in dire need of some help. Can you imagine persons who have not made $1 since around March 10 until now and have lost thousands upon thousands of dollars? Can you imagine the state of affairs, she pointed out. While acknowledging that the government is doing something to assist those in need, she believes that more can be done, including a tax break for JPS that could be passed on to consumers. And if we could have the rollout of the tourism grant, that would assist. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember, subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.